Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. We are about to start game number 3 of this week's Auzom Premier League. I'm JoRoSaR, joining me is Talha for the broadcast, and we also have iTwisterr on the observer desk, snaking his way through the warehouse here, as we are about to get on the plane for this game. And you know what, Talha, we've had some pretty normal plane paths and some pretty chill circles. I'm ready for some crazy stuff to start happening.
I want one of those esports circles. Look at that, the gates open of the warehouse. That means the plane is at an altitude of, is it 30,000? It is 30,000 feet.
I mean, usually it's, well, when you're skydiving, it's more like 15,000. When you're flying British Airways, it's more like 38,000. So, you know, take your pick.
So people don't skydive at 30,000. Would that just...
I mean, you could. It would be very cold, and it would take you a long time to get to, it doesn't sound like the most enjoyable thing.
I've never been skydiving. Always my dream. But game 2, Gate Esports coming in first with 7 kills. What a game. They are the team that just constantly push, the compounds in really interesting ways. And they did that. They held just outside the east side of Badlands, and they held it for ages against alternate attacks, and it worked in their favor, down to Symphonize taking out Pac-Man from SDL for the win. And here we see a nice lovely plane, bottom right to the top left over Georgia Pole. Going to get the same teams in the same areas again. South George and then West George in Hospital going to get taken.
Well,
and alternate attacks going to Gakka compounds again. So
another very, very even plane. 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Frost may be jumping a little bit late from the plane. They're not really sure what happened, so he's going to move south of Hospital and grab a compound there instead of attempt to contest South Georgia Pole, which is a very wise move. He left the plane over the water at the very last moment, which is a bit odd. Sunbird might run into him, which could be awkward, but I think Frost will be able to get to these compounds first. He's actually moving further south as well, so going to the West Gatka compounds by the looks of things, simply to avoid any contact at the start of the game. Fair enough. 3 different squads in or around Georgia Pole. Otherwise, things look pretty evenly spread out, I have to say, this time around. And all that remains, like you said, Tal, is the esports circle.
Circle's going to be making an appearance very shortly. You've got my
Stalba. Oh, I was almost right on the call. I love Stalba circles, but that's just because I'm a sadist, so don't you worry about that. So Stalba is in the circle, but really it's more of a Yasnaya kind of circle, centering in around the lake there. So again, relatively central, not very much water on the outside of the map, just the river here. And myTech will be reasonably happy that they landed in Yasnaya. They have all the time in the world to loot. The teams that are going to have to be coming furthest, actually not that many teams. There's no one military base. There's no one Gonzaki. This is a fair distance. We're doing all right. G2 already have vehicles. This is good for the teams.
Most of the teams are located on the south side of the circle. No one is across the river. So the north side is looking kind of nice and safe. So teams like Gate Esports, they made their rotation north last time. Maybe House Nobles will do it differently. They might want to go north as well from Georgia Pole, bump into each other. But if whoever can get there kind of sees themselves in like the top 5 position already, unless the rotations from many of the other teams that are bottom right in Milta area decide to go through Kameshki and over the top there. They still have the time.
We've got maybe shooting range if people go around to there, and like obviously not hang around in shooting range because it's in the middle of a massive valley and it's quite frustrating. But you could loot that and then hang around the hills nearby and wait for the next circle and be super safe and play. Admittedly nice and boring because no one else is actually there, but you're right, that would guarantee you staying safe for at least half the game at this rate, right?
Of course. See, what would be interesting to see is, many of these teams in this lobby, they have been going to the same places. You've got alternate attacks doing the Gakka compounds, No Loot Gaming, Pachinki, Gate Esports, South George, and then they share half of West George with House Nobles. If after their games they're just looking at, they go into their replays and they're just looking at the playing path and seeing where teams can go, they might just clock on that, no one is going to Sverny, no one's going to Zaki, no one's doing the Stalba compounds, and that might be the safest place to go. That is something that many of the teams might need to start doing. But we've got 2 more games left, this game and the one coming after, and it looks like Raska sees a crate in his sights.
Yep, I think he's very happy to say, if there's someone in these compounds, I'm probably dead, and if there's no one in these compounds, I get a crate. And he's going to have to come up against Finguin, who I think is rushing over on the other side towards this crate location. You might have even heard the vehicle. I'm not sure. But he has suddenly stopped, and he will be spotting the vehicle very, very shortly. There we go. He sees that Fingwin is all over that, and we're going to be seeing some shots from the AK, no doubt.
Fingwin is being a tiny bit cool. No, he's not being cautious at all. He's going to loot it. He's going to stand still. Level 1 helmet. A few of the shots miss. In fact, nothing hit at the moment, and he's going to get away. I don't think he had a chance to loot it. Ooh.
Oh, he definitely did have a chance to loot it, and that is an AUG on the back of Fingwin. Oh, Pan not saving him from that shot, as he goes down to about 70% health there. But Raska, well, I mean, he could get a couple of headshots from this distance and down him theoretically. But Fingwin right now, I think, is going to be able to get away scot-free with his hands on the crate weapon.
Raska had very little time. He's got an AK-47 against level 1 helmet. He had very little time to shoot the head there as...
he got a buggy.
He's got a buggy out of it, but he's going to see what was dropped, and I think it was.
I think it's a level 1 helmet. Maybe.
Level 1 helmet.
Yeah, there we go. It's just a level. So the level 1 helmet is all that's going to be there, unfortunately, and Raska will have a little bit of transport should he want it. That's the rest of his team rocking up to hear the news that the crate unfortunately hasn't been looted in their favor, but Purge still have all 4 members and plenty of game left to go.
There we go. We see a quick scout rotation coming out from Frost from alternate aTTaX at the top there. But it's going to be Butts and I think Janssen just leading ahead. No, Outsider, in fact, from No Loot Gaming. They've made their way to the north side of the river, but slowly following Frost from behind. Just a bit of scouting. No one is around in the area. Going to be a nice place just to camp up.
Uh-oh. I wonder if alternate aTTaX remember what happened the last time they tried to get in a moving vehicle battle with someone near to them. It is just going to be single players in these UAZs at the moment, but it's going to be difficult for Frost in first-person mode to be able to see that from where
Frost
he is.
Driving straight towards Outsider.
Oh dear. Yep, that's a wise last-second reconsider there. And Outsider must be thinking these are... What on earth is going on there? I thought that was my teammate. He said he was coming around at a UAZ. It definitely wasn't. First UAZ, alternate aTTaX. Second UAZ, his teammate.
Frost taking refuge in the river.
Cool enough.
He knows he can't be shot in there. He knows that. But look at this. Butts being really aggressive. He's going to try and look for him. And he knows he's somewhere in the river. It could be by the rocks. But don't know what Frost can do here. He can get back up on the rocks and heal up.
I don't think he thinks... He's a little bit paranoid that people are on the banks of the river effectively fishing for him right now. But that's not really the case. Butts is playing tower defense nearby. But and while he has a view of some of the water, he's certainly not right on top of Frost by any stretch of the imagination. So Frost will have the ability to get out of the water. The real question is how he's going to rejoin his teammates.
His teammates are trying to rejoin him, but in the meantime, you've got team number 8 making their way across the small bridge. That is Purge, and they're going to be driving straight towards, well, Wick is the first one. He's going to go across and scout. They heard some shots earlier, so they're just looking out for it. Will he be able to find Outsider in the compound?
Can I just point out, Tal, that all the fighting so far has happened north of the river? Like,
yeah.
I have no idea how strong your caster curse is this evening, but
yeah, north
the
of the
ore
river...
is godly.
And not looking safe right now.
Godlike. Absolutely supreme.
Everyone thought that it was going to be safe, so everyone was like, yeah, let's go there. Unfortunately not.
See, Coach Joro says Stalber's safe. You can trust Coach Joro. Ooh, SDL coming up against Noxious here. Kavorka maybe going to stop at the compound early. I don't think SDL managed to see how many people were in that vehicle. It was a bit of a fleeting sort of moment there, and Kavorka waiting to get some shots off, but doesn't look like he needs to at this time. The rest of his squad still in prison and kind of scattered around. They're going to have to make their way and group up very soon and start grabbing some compounds to prepare for the team fights to come.
You see everyone in their vehicles now. Rotations coming in. Not that many compounds north of the river left, in fact. I mean, you can still go towards Burning and whatnot. Oh, look at this. Got the rest of No Loot Gaming defending the road against Sunbird, who's driving away. In his Darkseer, orange Darkseer. Straight into the water. Does he go? He does indeed.
Oh, is he just... Don't know if he's driven into the water. I think he's managing to skirt around the water. That's Botsman in there at the moment. So, where on earth was Sunbird? Oh, no, he is there with him. I stand corrected. And on the riverbanks is an awkward place to be. They could technically pop into the boat and take a few shots there, but realistically, House of Nobles are looking for somewhere downstream away from everybody that they can resurface and hopefully rejoin the game competitively.
And they have get Esports. Yeah, there we go. Somebody has just spotted them. aTTaX knows there is some fish in the sea. And he's running towards them. He wants them. It's really bad.
Oh my god, that was beautiful. First shot. One shot, one kill onto Sunbird there. I wonder if he realizes that Botsman is very, very close to breaching the riverbank. He's looking for Sunbird. Spots the teammate and goes, hang on a second, the fishing isn't quite done yet. And will be able to spot him out. By the way, nice from Botsman. It was opportunistic. He saw that his pursuer was entering the water, immediately got up onto the riverbank to try his best and get a shot off. But aTTaX won the fight cleanly, and that was a 2v1 there. Okay,
what
from an unfair position.
Aim from aTTaX. That was
beautiful.
Insane. Just making it look easy. And the rest of his team just gonna follow up from behind. Meanwhile, during that engagement, you've got the rest of No Loot Gaming, aTTaX and aTTaX, Jansen, making their way across the bridge. It's nice and easy. Vascu getting shot by Team Wilmot, by Peter. Getting down really low there.
Compounds in the center of the circle, all filled up now. So we're exchanging medium to long range fire between compounds. And No Loot Gaming, considering whether or not to cross. I have a feeling they're just going to be holding their current position until it's determined whether or not the circle is going to fall north or south of the river here.
It is a good position to hold.
Yeah, and if it does fall north of the river, they're going to look fantastic. Them and SDL are the main teams north of the river. And if it goes south, they have enough time to get in that it's not a complete failure. They'll be able to navigate a route that isn't too far from the compounds, but isn't too close that they get shot at either. And hopefully that will enable them to survive, for example, if the circle moves towards.
Look at that. Get Esports swerving away from alternate attacks. As they've got this three-story compound.
There we go.
In a very nice area. Nice circle. It just pop, shoving people more northeast. So these teams that are already in the circle, they don't need to move at all. They're pretty much safe. But the ones outside of the circle, they're looking at crossing some bridges that are pretty hard to cross.
This is going to be fun.
Fact, No Loot Gaming are just leaving straight away. They want to get a more center side of the circle, so that bridge is going to be completely safe to cross.
Well,
alternate attacks.
I mean, at this level, these are some of the most difficult to cross bridges in the game. You'll see a few teams cross the bridges, but they know if they get ambushed, they're almost certainly dead. And that's why you're going to see loads of teams move around to the east, to the north of Yasnaya, as we see SDL, as well as I think Team Purge doing now. And once you go to the right-hand side and sort of moving around, it means you don't have to worry about anyone trying to camp you out there. Purge getting shot at. Part of me, they're actually already center circle, and a few different squads on top of the hill trying to get a shot off onto, I believe that's Niru, who is on top of the buggy there. Won't quite connect as they look for more compounds, maybe having to go as far as shooting range before they can get one.
Oh dear, Wick is already in a good position, but SDL driving straight in. You're going to get a scissoring motion coming in as they just collide. SDL decide that it's not a good idea. They're going to fight straight past, and look at that split for them. Instant decision making, turning the other way, going to a different area. So a good rotation coming out there by Purge. They make it. Everyone's made it as well. Oh, look at this.
Nice by Quick. Managing to headshot Frost out of the vehicle there. Alternate attacks losing a member. So believe it or not, we've only lost 3 people in this game so far, ladies and gents. But the business end of the game is about to begin. And there are a precious few number of compounds here. And more importantly, the compounds actually spread further apart in the north side of the map as well. So we're going to see less shooting, but when a squad commits to an engagement or when a vehicle drives up to a compound, for example, we will see more decisive battles, and they'll be a little bit quicker than if we saw them, for example, in Georgopol or Pachinki.
Some exchange of bullets being had with SDL and the team that is on the warehouse. And SDL actually picking a fight with 2 different teams. Purge. Ooh. JoJoWitz sees a bullet right in front of his face and decides, I'm not going to peek that angle anymore. That was too close for comfort. While we have Team Noxious actually going straight into Severny and taking that on lockdown.
So as the teams rotate in, we're really just waiting and looking to see where the next circle are going to be. Notice G2 outside the circle and opting not to use any of the bridges. They're very happy to swim in and take things slowly. That's because the bridges do just end up being a massive trap. If a team actually came around the right-hand side, Team Wilma, or Rilma, as he was in my head just now, would have been able to gatekeep that bridge. So it's not ideal at all. And that's why you tend to see more teams either going round the outside or going swimming. So loads of teams making like 2 trailer park girls round Yasnaya. Very, very smart there. And Team Red Zone get a good position as a result, in addition to SDL.
Rafi managed to get a pick on Flicks there. Look at this. He's just pushed away from his team. He gets the kill, and now he's running back. He's done a bit of damage, and that is House of Nobles that has lost another player. So not looking that good for them. I think, if I'm right, I can't see anyone else. That is the last person on their team, Mobsy. Is it Mobsy? Yeah, it is. Just sitting in a Harry Potter all by himself. Meanwhile, No Loot Gaming holding that bridge in a really... that's really clever. They've got 2 people in the God compound, and then they've got 2 more in the petrol station. So as they just drive past, they've got more range to cover to blow up a vehicle. Meanwhile, Noxious have actually pushed all the way around to the hills of shooting range. So they're just camping up there. They've got a good position on Purge.
Well, the hills around shooting range, they're a nice place to be as long as you're not inside shooting range itself. And it looks like they have a good position for the next circle as well. You can see, by the way, MyTech, the last team to leave Yasnaya, avoiding the bridge at all cost and even eating a little bit of blue damage to go around the side. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Team Red Zone now moving in very early to the next circle. They're not going for the shack, although it is there if they want to use it. It's more for this dip and this really nice hill that's going to be shielding them from the southwestern side of the circle from where they are. So they have a very, very nice perch. They need to wait until the zone comes in case any teams come up from behind them. That's probably where they're weakest from. But otherwise, Team Red Zone have a very, very solid position.
Celis finding the head of Pac-Man. He gets taken down. And Noxious, they've just gone all the way around and they've found themselves a nice little compound in the circle. Look at this, SDL. They need to kind of... half of their compound is in the circle, half of it isn't. So they need to just push up a tiny bit and probably just stay in there a little longer. They need to take the vehicles in just so they have it for the next circle that's about to show itself. But not about to show itself. For the next circle that is going to show in the next 60 seconds after the timer goes. And Red Zone, they've made a little barrier with their cars. So they've got protection from one side and the trees... oh, they got rid of the barrier now. They've got protection, metal protection from one side and trees from the other. So they're in a good position here. And hills for cover as well.
Having the vehicles is really, really important in this kind of circle because while you do have isolated pockets of cover, going between compounds and between areas of good cover in the hills often requires you to get very, very exposed in the open area. So you can see here between Team 12, between not SDL, between No Loot Gaming and the team below them, for example. Great cover where they are, great cover where their opponents are. Massive meadow in the middle here. So it's useful if they want to push to go in those vehicles rather than attempt to dart from tree to tree and effectively risk death.
Of course, there we go, SDL, they're going to get in the vehicles. They don't want to stay in this compound any longer, and they're going to start moving. But, oh, Raskid decides to peek up and take some shots, but he gets, well, shot out by Mats, who is staying behind for a late rotation just to give them some cover as the rest of his team does move up. And while he's standing there, you've got two players from MyTech coming in from behind. Boniel. Well, actually, no, the whole team rocks up. And they're taking the compound as SDL just left.
Matt still sat there in the corner going, hang on a second, what is going on here? He will no doubt have heard them come in. But they might not know that he's there at the moment, being nice and quiet, just kind of chilling on the edge of the circle right now. All of these compounds are taken. I like that Team Wilma are out in the open, ready to rotate and not have to be in a compound for the next circle. That could end up proving very valuable as far as they're concerned. It looks like every other team has got a compound to call them their own at the moment, but the next circle after this is the one where we're going to see 2 or 3 squad wipes very quickly.
There you go. Wilma up on the hill. They are raining down hell on No Loot Gaming on both the compounds there, but you don't want to show yourself a bit too much. And Nero picking a fight with someone who has really good aim with the Kar 98, but level 1 vest, damaged a tiny bit.
Zone now almost moving in as the next crate flies overhead. I think it's something like just a few seconds until we see the location of the next circle. There we go. Wow, almost exactly in the middle here. And that cuts out 3/4 of all of the compounds. Alternate attack, smack bang in the middle of this circle, but a lot of movement inwards. And look at this, instant rotation, because the last people in at this point are going to be the people that everybody shoots at. This is about to become a clown fiesta.
Okay, so I can understand why teams like Red Zone and G2 have to rotate, but I'm so confused at Noxious. They're rotating from an already good place in the circle, and they're going straight to alternate attacks. They have no idea that it's on the left of them because they're being shot at by another team, like Esports. And in fact, they do realize because of the nades, and the shooting does happen.
Kygod getting taken out of the game by Risks Nas very early on in the engagement here. And you're right, already inside the circle in a relatively safe position, but they've now drawn an awful lot of attention to themselves as Risks Nas needing to met up. Luckily, there's a good amount of defilade here near to this compound as the rest of the team try and push up to just underneath where alternate attacks were. They will get a building or two to call their own. Big engagement going on over here, though. Team 7, that is Team Red Zone, in a massive engagement, and they are fighting No Loot Gaming.
Outsider gets taken down quite easily by Spreezy, and you're left with aTTaX, who has a bit of cover with those walls, but unfortunately he can't see under it as well as they can see his feet. And they're going to be able to get up another player from Team Red Zone. This is his chance to kind of get out, as they already know. SDL making a push in towards G2, but Mats gets taken down, unfortunately for them. There's still 11 teams alive. And look at this, aTTaX. He is trying. He's trying to do whatever he can. Wacko gets Pac-Man as well. SDL just going straight in towards G2, but not a lot is coming out for them other than death.
Red Zone continuing to move into No Loot Gaming, and actually let's keep an eye on that engagement until the end there, because I have a feeling that Makan is about to push into aTTaX and potentially finish this engagement. So the smokes are going out to mask their footsteps, the frags are coming in. It is quite clear that Spreezy and co want the gas station for themselves, but aTTaX is staying put, deciding he does not want to participate, and as a result this is delaying Team Red Zone quite a lot. And the longer they stay out here, the more they get paranoid about another team on a hill maybe hearing them and taking them from the side. So they really need to push in soon.
Yeah, they try to flank in from the left, as that's probably the best position to flank in from into the petrol station, because look at the wall. It's the closer side for them, and it's less exposed. However, by doing that, they just saw Team Wilma up on the hill who started shooting back at them. So they are being forced around the other side. And in fact, they're going to decide that they just don't want to do it at all. They're just going to stay put.
It's a lot of open ground, so if they don't get peeked and they manage to go around the other side of this concrete wall, they can actually push into gas station. But they think the threat at the moment really might be from the hill, and like you say, if Team Wilma sees them and they try and push the gas station, get taken out by a third party, that's going to be incredibly awkward. We have teams 10 and 9s, that's MyTech and G2 going up against each other on the left side. Steven being the first person to go down, and Boniel looking for the kill there. Will be able to get it with the frag grenade, making this a 4v3 to start things off.
They pushed in, they got the kill. They've actually made this heavily into their favor. MyTech just sitting on the edge of the circle, holding their ground, waiting for the next circle to appear itself, which it's going to do in the next couple of seconds. And there we go. Let's have a look. So southeast, you've got Get Esports, Noxious, and aTTaX all favoring it. And look at this little push from Wilma. They are going wrapping around this high possible. Mosy's been sitting in for the majority of the game. They know he's still in there, or they're just guessing.
I'm going to assume they suspect something. Oh, and they might be able to hear Mobsy move around inside as well. Yeah, he gets tagged. They definitely know he is in there now. And getting surrounded, unfortunately, and will get pushed out eventually, so there's not too much he can do from this position. Now, this would be the most impressive squad wipe I've seen in a very, very long time, if he's able to make it out. Unfortunately, though, that nade will polish the job.
See, that's the problem with this particular Harry Potter. You think it's safe, but because of the big hill, it is the people on the same line, so they can just easily flush you out of that. Bonnie trying to make his way in to the circle, but it's going to be Velen who is his next, well, demise. Does get taken down, and that is aTTaX slowly falling. Is that aTTaX? Yeah, it is. But little do G2 know that they have got aTTaX in the same compound as them, but you've also got team number 8 pushing in from behind. So they need to speed up their game and make a play of some sort of purge. And they're looking to do some purging again.
We got there in the end with the puns.
You don't like that one, did you?
We got there. No, we got there. We got there. Like, you get maybe a 10 out of 10. Well, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 for that one. As quick goes down to Velen. We need the dramatic pause for the chat appreciation there, as Wick managing it to take out Bonnie L, and we have Velen finishing off quick. We have 7 teams left alive in 21. We did say as the circle contracted north of the river here, the teams would start falling like flies. And look, as soon as these teams now in these circles start to move from A to B, they're not using vehicles anymore because they don't want to draw attention to themselves. There is so much open space. Tal, there's no way for these guys to rotate anymore without getting shot at, which just puts teams like Noxious, teams like aTTaX in such a strong position right now.
There is a way. JoRo is called smokes, and that's what they're doing. They're throwing all their smokes out.
True.
So they can get between the trees, but Rixnas does not care a little bit because he's going to keep shooting, and he sees the heads. Ooh, what is that? Nero. He does get taken down, but Fate finds the head of Rixnas. Taps it twice, forces him away. Nero gets rezzed again, but they need to just run into their smoke.
Still there.
Of course.
Managing to take out Nero now, and he puts his eyes on Wick next. The problem is, even if they, like, Rixnas, unless they properly down him, he can med up, poke his head back up, and it would still, they'd still only be able to make it halfway to him. There is so much open ground right now for Purge to cover. How do they manage to make the distance? They need a lot more smoke grenades, and maybe they've got them in reserve, but this is going to take some time.
They're trying to smoke their way and rotate down where Gate Esports are, and look at this disgusting hill that Gate Esports has. Symphonize getting shot at. That's his level 2 helmet falling really low, but doesn't take him out completely. Have they just got one down? Yeah, it's Spoof. He's been taken down, but look at this. Rask has actually made his way across. I want to call it the Grapevine. He's made his way across the road there, and he's going to be pushing slowly. He does his shots, so he knows that there are people up on this little ridge.
Now, this is interesting, because the next circle is going to force both Noxious and aTTaX out of their compounds. They've enjoyed such a great position for the last 10 to 15 minutes of the game, and now it's going to be a game of chicken. Who leaves their compound first? I feel like Noxious might have an advantage. They're at the lower ground, so they have the ability to effectively gatekeep aTTaX as they move into the circle. But if they do that, how many other teams are going to be there waiting for them? We just saw Purge lying in wait. There could be others.
This is really clever. Oh, Kavorka getting shot again. They're just smoking them behind because they know aTTaX has clear vision on them while they want to kill Purge, and that's what they're doing. Fate is down. He might be getting revived, but the zone is coming in. But very slowly with these competitive circle settings, he does get the revival. That grenade, quite ambitious, I must say so. But
that's 2 downs, actually. Raska and Wick getting a down each, and that's going to be forcing Noxious to sort of chill out a little bit and try and get a few revives. Wick coming in now to try and finish off the trades with a lot of nade kills. So many people going down as Fate moves in. This is the problem. You have to go across open ground. But Wick with some amazing nades. Kavorka might actually have to try and peek his head above the parapet and finish the job off, but he's going to choose to revive his teammate instead. This is the chance for Wick to push.
This is Fate. He is... sorry, Wick, he's pushing. He sees the smoke. It just came up. He's going to get the revive down. 2 people resing just over this little hill, but the circle is coming in very slowly. Unfortunately, Rixnas is low, and so is Kavorka. He just gets the med off straight away. And look at that. They're already there, but they're hiding in the smoke.
Right next to them. Kavorka coming in over the top. He must see both of them here. There we go.
Oh,
and
dear.
in the back, easy as you like. Still one person left though. Kavorka trying to run away. He just about manages to get safe, I think, but he needs a safe place to med up.
I think that was it. Yeah, that's Purge.
Nicely done.
They're dead.
And that's Purge out of the game.
That is Purge out of the game. Unfortunately, Gate Esports decided to help there, but they helped one of the other teams, and Noxious still are in this game looking strong. 5 teams remaining, 15 alive, while the rest of the teams make their way in. Team Wilma looking strong on the south side of the circle, but they've got team number 7 coming in, and a circle lands straight on top of Team Wilma.
Very nice stuff there, but Wilma have a very open position that they have to defend. They're kind of in this little dip here, and that makes it very awkward because Red Zone will be able to get the high ground and sort of move up onto them. They'll basically have to go prone and look up to avoid any sort of sneaky little peaks. So they are in the next circle, but it might not be the most desirable position. They're right next to the road and the ridge. Everyone else is going to have to rotate in. Everyone on the west side of the circle is basically going to have to go to the open field to get here. And there we go. Moving up on top because they realize the valley's not the best place to be. And McCann goes down first. And Spreezy tries to come for a bit of revenge.
That really aggressive push from Rafi. And I think we're going to see the same from Velociraptor. Spreezy just diving and dodging. Unfortunately, he gets taken down.
Yeah,
and now
that's Team Red Zone out.
clear.
Tekker's now getting shot at. He goes down as well. Gate Esports in a little bit of trouble. So many teams struggling to get into the circle right now. A full engage, though, onto Team Wilma. And remember, Team Wilma have a lot of angles open to them in this position. So they're just going to keep getting pushed. Even if they win this fight, the subsequent fight could be dangerous for them. But they get taken out now. This Team 15, Gate Esports, are the new center of the circle.
Yeah. So Tomato actually has enough time to get his teammate up, but meanwhile you've got Rixnas just holding off alternate attacks. And what was that shot? That wasn't him, was it? No, it wasn't at all. But Crispy gets taken down, and now he's being shot at from the behind. So he's literally in between 2 teams, being sandwiched.
So this is interesting because we did say earlier that Noxious had the ability to get into the circle first and effectively gatekeep alternate attacks. That happened, but the problem is they weren't banking on Gate Esports being behind them, stabbing them in the back. And as a result, alternate attacks managed to go down at the moment. Oh no, you need to be careful not to die in the blue. Noxious, Kavorka! Oh dear, that is not good for him at all. Rixnas now has everything to do as they go up against Gate Esports for the chance to become victors here in game number 3. Great flank. Tomato is about to do it. He does indeed. Too many angles there, unfortunately. And that will be the end of the game. So congratulations to Gate Esports. I would say a little bit of luck with the final circle, but that's not true. They had a little bit of luck, and then they realized they needed to push it, and they took out Team Wilma and became the gatekeepers of the final circle. Commiserations to Noxious, who after their win earlier managed to get a 2nd place as well, which is fantastic stuff for them. Alternate attacks coming in 3rd place. Guys, you're watching the Auzom Premier League. This is the Blue Lobby. That was game number 3. I'm JoRoSaR. With me is Talha, and iTwisterr is your observer this evening. We have 1 game left this evening, and that's coming up right after this break. Don't go anywhere.